together and work for the transformative change in society that we deserve. So thank you for coming out this morning. That I believe in wholeheartedly, it is the power of the people. I want you to look around this room right now. It's the power that you and I have when we unite together for justice. We can make it happen. As Jill says, it's in our hands. And we know two things, that we are working against some really, really powerful forces. And we know that the revolution is not going to be televised. And I see all these people out here with their cell phones. We have the cameras in the back. We're going to televise it ourselves. Yeah. We're going to share our story. The second thing we know is that the revolution is not going to be funded by the usual suspects. We're not going to be funded by the large oil companies that we are going to shut down. And we are not going to be funded by large insurance agencies that are abusing the healthcare system and not delivering the healthcare that we deserve. So we need to fund this ourselves. It depends on us. So I'm going to ask that you please consider making a donation to the campaign so we can continue to spread the story, so we can continue to bring more people out, and we can take this movement that we have and turn ourselves into an organized power that will sustain even beyond November 8th into the future until we achieve all of our goals. So we have Aaron and Lawrence, I don't see you right now. They are collecting donations and taking sign-ups in the back. And then who here has a smartphone? Busted. All right, so pull up Jill2016.com, and you're going to see two green buttons there. One, the first one says volunteer. We need you to join us, to get out there, to help organize and to help spread the word, to make phone calls, let people know we need to break through this silence.
I've already been walking around the campus.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. That's so great. And the second one is donate. Please consider making a gift because it depends on us. The max amount that you can donate, if it works for your budget, is $2,700. But that $1,500, $150, $20, you get what I'm asking. Please consider making a gift because this is going to be funded by us in this room. We're depending on you. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Go ahead and open up the floor for some Q&A with Jill.
Yeah, we've already kind of collected the questions.
Oh, excellent. That's great.
So some of y'all had the opportunity to write in some questions, so I've summarized and condensed them. Question 1 for Dr. Stein. What is a plan A and a plan B for the Green Party, especially in light of the shift to the right of the two establishment parties?
Great. Okay. Really great question. So what's the plan for the party, given that the two major parties keep marching to the right? And I just want to underscore that because some people say, oh, but we can't stand up now, it's too dire, Donald Trump is too scary. Well, it's like reality check here. With every election, they both keep getting more and more scary. We are not, a single isolated moment in time. This is part of a very clear trend. And we don't have the time to fiddle around. In this election, we're not just deciding what kind of a world we're going to have, but whether we're going to have a world or not going forward. It's not just Donald Trump who's scary. Hillary Clinton wants to start an air war with Russia over Syria. That's her answer to ISIS, is by declaring a no-fly zone, which means, get ready, we're going to war with a nuclear-armed power over Syria. And by the way, we have 2,000 nuclear weapons on hair trigger alert. We are the only campaign that is calling for a peace initiative to deal with the chaos in the Middle East. We are the only campaign calling for urgent nuclear disarmament for everyone, nuclear abolition. We do have a crisis of nuclear weapons. Barack Obama says, oh, well, we can't possibly deal with that in our lifetime. He wants to spend $1 trillion, which Hillary supports, creating a new nuclear arms race and a new generation of nuclear weapons. So we're the only one with an answer on that. It's called negotiate an end to nuclear weapons. only ones standing up with a solution on climate change. Fracking is not the answer to coal. They will both do us in. We need wind and we need solar and we need jobs. We need it now. That's the answer to climate change. So, Plan A is building the Green Party and Plan B is building the Green Party because people are dying for a new third party. A poll just came out at the end of last week showing that, 57% of the American public is now clamoring for a new independent political party, a new major political party. We're the only show in town. You know, we hear a little bit about the Libertarians, but in fact, the Libertarians were founded, one of the founding members was one of the Koch brothers. Their agenda is about shrinking government so that we can all be slaves to multinational corporations. The American people say no thank you. And there are lots of grassroots libertarians who actually agree with us. And I think the name of the game is getting the word out. This is why Gary Johnson is refusing to debate. I was actually judged the winner of a debate with him by his own supporters, largely by libertarians who voted me the winner of the debate in 2012. So he's keeping his head down. He doesn't want people to know that there's another option. And he gets on corporate media because he's not such a threat, you know? He's just corporate politics on steroids. We are the only real alternative out there. So our job is to get that word out and to stay with it for the long haul. Because, you know, it's all about translating our passion into action in a way that's not going to go away. It took me, most of you are like way ahead of my political learning curve. It took me to the age of 50 before I understood why we needed an independent political party. I was apolitical altogether. I was an activist. So I was working on social movements. But I refused to have anything to do with the Democratic or Republican parties because it all just seemed so corrupt to me. And I only became political when the Green Party came to me in Massachusetts and said, why don't you run for governor? Just do what you're doing, fighting against environmental racism and to get money out of politics and for a healthcare system that delivers for everyone, a single-payer system, which is the kind of stuff I was working on. And what I said was, well, everything else is failing us, might as well try politics, you know? And I think that's kind of where we are. We need to actually give traction to our movements. In the words of Frederick Douglass, power concedes nothing without a demand. We have to make that demand out there in our schools, in our workplaces, at the prisons, at the pipelines. We have to demand justice, but we have to demand it in the voting booth. If we give them a pass in the voting booth, they will steamroll over everything that we are doing out in the streets. We have to take this fight into all of the fronts, including the political battle. So going forward, it's all about continuing to work with and support the social movements, but also to bring those social movements into the political battle. Because when we get together with a political voice, we are absolutely unstoppable. So I urge you, sign up for our campaign, sign up for the Green Party, the growing, amazing Green Party here in Memphis and throughout Tennessee. We are going to make it happen together with you.
And now for the lightning round. Since 2008 in Memphis and in a lot of urban areas in the United States, there's been a segregation, an economic segregation that's been mirrored by a racial segregation. And this one's complex, so I'm reading verbatim. What is the role of president in changing deeply segregated spaces and intervening in how we experience belonging and community in this city and in this country? Lightning round.
Wonderful, okay. Let me just say some really broad brushstroke things. We need to address racial justice as absolutely key to the future of our nation. We have a living legacy right now, the criminal institution of slavery, and a lot of people don't get that. You know, they think, oh, we had a black president, everything is fine, you know, but actually not. In fact, things even got worse for the African American community over the last 8 years. And Unspeakable economic disparities became even more severe for the communities of color. Unspeakable education disparities became worse as resegregation has established itself again in our schools, in our housing, and in jobs, and so on. So people need to understand that we have a crisis of racial justice, which has been kind of an unending legacy, from slavery to lynchings to Jim Crow to redlining of communities to the war on drugs, segregation, the prison industrial complex, and then police violence. It's been kind of a continuous line. And we need to acknowledge that. We need to sit down and have a really honest discussion about race. We also need to fix it, and there are specific solutions here that in particular target the dire needs of the African American community in housing, in schooling, in jobs. But we also need this conversation to get us on the same page, because right now we're an armed garrison state and people are ready to shoot. And everybody's getting hurt here in the crossfire. We need to address this epidemic of fear and racism. We call for a Truth and Reconciliation Commission that actually sits us down at the community level, in our schools, our workplaces, in our government institutions, at a community level where we get together and we really share these stories of racism, of bias, and how we get past it. And we also share our music and our art and our culture and our narratives, and we get ourselves on the same page here and affirm how we are, at the end of the day, we are on one small boat, we are one small community, we are one small human family on this planet. Either we are going to sail together or we are going to sink together. So let's make it sailing, and let's get together and talk our way into the future.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Remember, it's in our hands. So look at your hands and say thank you to your hands, and put your hands together and say thank you to Dr. Stein.
And also, a big thank you to Aaron and Carlos, would you stand? And to Yvonne, would you stand? And a big thank you to Jamie Armand and this wonderful venue here. Big thank you to you all. We are a team, and a big thank you to you. We're here for the long haul. Thank you for being on the team.
Okay, the photo booth will be open. And you do not have to pay for any prints. Those are covered for you. So Dr. Stein will take, maybe she might take a minute, but she'll be in the photo booth, so you will get your own photograph with Dr. Stein. And we have got some light lunch to be provided. We've got some water. Do not throw away the water cups. Katie will direct that process. But we've got some pita pockets and some veggie trays. Please eat, be merry, and remember, you're the people who are going to make this happen. Not me, not Carlos, not Lawrence. It's going to be all you. So thank you very much.